Hello. Welcome if you're new. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name's Malcolm, and today, I wasn't expecting to talk about this person ever again in this type of format, which is like a commentary video. And by the title, you already know we're talking about Gabbie Hanna. And yes, in my previous commentary video about Gabbie Hanna, I did say I would never mention her name on this channel ever again. But after today, I couldn't let it slide. You know what I mean? Little stuff, yeah, whatever, tweet whatever you want, let it go. I don't care about that stuff. But this just kind of shows the person a lot of us knew Gabbie Hanna to be, right? So we're gonna talk about some heavy stuff. Massive trigger warnings. We're gonna be talking about mental health. So if any of those subjects trigger you or upset you in any way, please click away from this video because I do not want to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. And for everybody else, let's do this. So today, well, it's past midnight, so I guess yesterday, Jessi Smiles released this 6-part Twitter thread of these phone calls between her and Gabbie Hanna, and we're still talking about when Jessi and Curtis Lepore, I guess they were dating at the time, and Curtis Lepore Jessi. And in doing that, it seems like Gabbie Hanna became a apologist for Curtis, because Jessi, in one video, which we're going to talk about that very soon, in one video she basically said how Gabbie Hanna was still hanging with Curtis, was still like taking photos with him and all this kind of stuff, and Gabbie really took that to heart and has made it her mission to clear her name, even though, as we are about to hear, Gabbie basically lied. And she did have contact with Curtis Lepore, friend or not, and the things I'm about to talk about actually shocked me more than I thought they would. So we're gonna listen and watch all 6 videos, but I'm gonna break them down into like 2 videos a piece. So I'm gonna show you the first 2 videos that Jessi posted on her Twitter thread, and then I will be back.
This is what you told me. You hung out with Curtis's friends. Curtis was there, pulled you to the side, told you, "I'm so sorry I was mean to you. I can't believe what Jessi did to you."
He FaceTimed me right after our first fight because I genuinely, dead ass, do not know how people knew about it.
And why'd you pick up to him?
I didn't have the number saved. That's the first situation, was a FaceTime call. The second situation was when we were at an event and he tried to take a selfie with me, and I was like, no, that's not happening. And then the event that I'm assuming you have to be talking about is when I was at 1600 Vine, and then he came there. I think I was at Lele's, and then he showed up, and I was like, oh, fuck no. He tried to talk to me and pull me aside there.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a completely different situation. That's literally months and months later.
You were at a place with his friends. He showed up and pulled you to the side. I said that.
You hung out with Curtis's friends. Curtis was there, pulled you to the side.
I said that.
And you said that as the way that it all went down. I also didn't hang out with, like, his friends.
You admitted to it.
People who knew Curtis. I think I was
Yes, and he showed up and pulled you to the
And
side.
guess what? I am allowed to have friends. I'm allowed to collaborate. Like, I can't cut everybody out of my life.
Even though you spoke to him all these times, I'm finding out now, and honestly, I'm frankly disgusted. So I didn't even know all of this. I didn't know you took it.
Talking about you're disgusted. I literally just told you about the first.
Don't tell me what am I talking about. I just had a. Don't tell me that, because I just had a panic attack hearing you say that you heard him out.
He said, "Do you mind if I tell you the story of that night?" And I said, "I mean, yeah, that's fine. Like, I've heard her side. You can tell me yours." So he told me the exact same story. Like, literally.
I didn't even know that he told you the story of the night I was raped. I never knew that.
Yeah, so he told me the story, and then I told him.
Why would you listen to him? Why would you listen to him? Like, really? Why would you? He, like, even.
I was getting ready to defend you. Like, I was.
But for what? Just don't. Just say no, sir. Thanks. Like, fuck you. Like, even though she's not my friend, I don't want to hear how you think you didn't rape her.
Literally, I deadass was waiting for him to lie. And like,
Who cares? Like, just hang up. Fuck him.
Jessi, I wanted to fight for you too.
Don't. Like, literally, fuck him.
I agree. Fuck him. I agree. But like, when he said that, I literally wanted to catch him in his lie. So then
For what?
he told me his story, and I told him, well, Curtis, that is literally the story that Jessi tells. And at the end of the day, she was asleep. Like, that is what I said.
I need to.
And then he was like,
Excuse me. I need to call you back. I'm sorry. I'll call you back.
Okay. You're making it sound like I'm friends with him.
No, I'm not.
The story from the start.
I'm just saying, how could I get?
Like, this isn't news.
It is news.
Jessi, that's literally always been what I've said.
I've
always said, he asked me to tell, it's literally in my notes on Twitter that I said he asked me if he could tell me the story, and I wanted to catch him in a lie, Jessi. Like, I was ready to fucking tell him off and be like, that's not true. And then when he told me the same story, I said, yeah, so you're telling me the same story, which is she was asleep and you raped her. That's what I said. And then he said, okay, well, now you at least know it from my side. I said, okay, I'm never going to publicly bash you or defend you. I'm never going to publicly bash Jessi. And
yeah,
said,
right.
And by the way, he did try to blackmail me, by the way, afterwards.
He tried to blackmail you or me?
He did.
So, unlike what Jessi thought initially, Gabbie actually had contact with Curtis Lepore 3 separate times. And Jessi didn't even know about it until Gabbie told her. Which, you can see it in the video how triggering that was to hear for Jessi. That you had contact with my rapist 3 times. When it should have been 0. And this part really got me. When Gabbie goes, I'm allowed to have friends. I'm allowed to collaborate. I can't cut everybody out my life. Yes, you can. You can definitely cut people off. You can definitely choose to not collaborate. You can definitely not have that person be your friend. So, was that kind of like a justification or some like BS justification that Gabbie tried to really give? Like, oh, well, I can't really get rid of him. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I don't know why. I don't know why Gabbie really thought that was the smartest thing to say. That was actually really stupid, honestly. And just the amount of gaslighting, you can just hear it. The amount of gaslighting throughout this whole thing. Like, when I initially watched it, like, I was legit, like, screaming, like I was shocked. Like, I couldn't even, like, hide it. I couldn't even fathom you telling a survivor that, you know, you couldn't cut somebody off. Like, yeah, I know this person hurt you, but I couldn't cut them off. And this is the part right here. Is when she was like, I'm talking about Gabbie right now. The part where Gabbie was like, I was waiting for him to lie. What do you mean you were waiting for him to lie? What are you listening to him for in the first place? Please explain that to me. What Like, what do you get out of listening to someone that legit hurt somebody? What do you get out of that? I'm just very curious. And I think that's what pissed me off the most, is because you had no reason to even be in contact with them. Yes, you probably ended up at the same party, but once that person pulled you to the side and said, oh, let me tell you my side, just say no. Right there and then. You don't need to listen to them. You're gonna be like, nope, screw you, go away. Just like Jessi said in the video herself. You could just tell him to F off. That's all you had to say. You can't just be there, you're like, yeah, I'm totally gonna listen to you. Yep, What? Why? I'm very confused. That it baffled me that you really said, let me hear this abuser side of the story. And for those that say, well, Curtis didn't do anything, he actually pled guilty, and he actually took the lesser charge of felony assault. So you can shut that down right there, because I actually looked it up, and it seems like Gabbie is trying her best to just cover everything up. So let's continue. To say, I was waiting for him to lie so I could call him out. No, he didn't have to do that. That's actually one of the most, what was the reason? I've said this a bunch of times already. I know, I get it. But what was the real reason? It seemed like Gabbie just wanted to know the tea. Honestly. She was just like, oh, so I want to hear what happened. Of course, none of us were there, so we don't know how the conversation really went. All we know is that Curtis told Gabbie the whole story. And that part shocked Jessi as well, where she was just like, wow, I can't believe he actually told you about how he hurt me. Just, again, the fact that you were like, I was waiting for him to lie so I could say something. Or, like a smart person would do, Gabbie, would be to not give this person the light of day and just tell them to piss off and leave you alone. I mean, I feel like I'm talking in circles right now, so let's just move on. So the next two videos that we're going to watch, well, I already watched them, but if you haven't, just watch them. The next two videos we're going to talk about are the series of tweets and everything that Jessi called Gabbie out for, and just how Gabbie kept trying to cover herself. So I'm about to roll that for you, and I will be back.
Lie about never speaking about me that day on TMZ article. Why did you lie about defending Curtis?
I said I never ditched my friend for her rapist or publicly defended my best friend's rapist.
This was the day the story broke. I hadn't seen the article yet. Whatever he tweeted, I genuinely have no idea what his tweet was. I responded with a current Vine meme, which was a Big Sean Lil Wayne song, beware, beware, beware of a woman with a broken heart. I don't remember what he said. Obviously, it had nothing to do with the rape case. So that was that day before I ever saw it. The tweet is deleted because I was like, oh shit, I didn't understand the context of anything about this.
One of my friends, a guy friend, was falsely accused, and it fucked up his life, and all of a sudden it came out that it was false, and I fucking hated that bitch. So when it came out, I said that thing about whatever the thousands, I don't remember, I have no idea what it actually said, but it's clear that I said something along those lines. First of all the ones that I saw, because I never went back and deleted anything, so all the ones that I saw never showed that. They said, get popcorn, or why is Cam B talking about Viners? And then I saw the one that you're referring to, which says somebody responded, the actual tweet's not there, so I don't know what it says, but somebody said something about, thousands of women, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, I remember this. I tweeted this and deleted it a minute later, because at that point, if you don't remember, we had no idea who each other were. I barely had a Vine account. I had a few thousand followers on there. Right. I was literally a fan watching Vine.
Gotcha.
I said something stupid that I felt bad about, deleted it immediately, and now years later we're talking about it when you and I, like the fact that that's even coming up now, and that you use that as an argument. When we became friends 8 months after that, I put it up, I regret it, as a fan of Vine and a follower who was commenting on the lives of 2 people she never met.
Wait, I'm sorry, you can't.
Hey, I let you speak, please. Put it up, I regret it, as a fan of Vine and a follower who was commenting on the lives of 2 people she never met.
Wait, I'm sorry, you can't.
Hey, I let you speak, please. So just like commenting on my life and my situation, our situation, that was what I did. I put some tweets up that I obviously don't agree with in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It was 6 years ago.
Correct.
And I didn't remember them until I saw them again. And I was like, okay, yeah. But my whole point of this is, why is this coming up in 2020 when we became friends 8 months after those tweets were even out? So it just shows that you're retroactively trying to paint me as a villain. We're like,
Gabbie, the answer to your question is you. Do you realize that in your video, that is not factual? Like when you said, oh, I had no idea the context. Like you do understand that obviously that's not true.
no, I don't. Okay, Jessi.
Yeah.
You do understand, and I know that you know this.
Mm-hmm.
When that story dropped, every single person was saying that you lied.
Are you kidding me? Is that your justification? Because
Jessi, I'm telling you.
everyone's apologized to me for it, first of all, and it doesn't make it better.
And so have I.
And you're taking it back by trying to pretend it never happened. If you want people to stop calling you a rape apologist, you have to address the tweets.
Jessi, and I will, but I also
Okay, that's
have to
it.
talk about the history of our relationship, and that's what I plan on doing, is saying.
How is that relevant to you being a rape apologist? This was the
Jessi,
first...
how is anything you did in your video relevant?
You did a DM, and I basically did a table reading of it.
The last part. I want to talk about that part really quick. Gabbie says, well, everyone said that you lied. Key word, everybody else said that you lied. So this is kind of like a herd mentality, and maybe I'm not using the term herd mentality correctly, but in my interpretation of what a herd mentality is a person that just kind of like follows the group without any rhyme or reason. Case in point, Gabbie Hanna saying, well, everybody else said you lied, so I thought you lied too. She didn't really say it in the phone call, but that was implied. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said it like that. So the fact that Gabbie Hanna just listened to everybody else without coming to her own conclusion, which is something I preach on this channel all the time. I always give you the information, and I say it sometimes, I don't say it all the time, but at the end of the day, whatever information I put on this video, any information I tell you, I want you to come up with your own conclusions. So if you want to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I'm just giving you the information that was put there. That is all I'm trying to do, and then I give you my personal thoughts about it, which is like the whole point of my kind of commentary. So for Gabbie to be like, oh, everybody else said you lied, so you must have been lying. That was kind of like her mindset. And that's part of the problem, right? Where you have a survivor, but because a majority says this, and in most cases, the loudest group always gets their way. So if the louder group is like, she's a liar, people that are privy to the situation are gonna be like, yeah, I guess she's a liar. And then they'll just go with that instead. You know what I'm saying? So that part for me just shows how uncredible Gabbie Hanna is when it comes to coming up with her own conclusions, because it's just like, did you do any research before you even like came up with that statement? It would be different if Gabbie Hanna looked into the whole case herself and then she came up with her own conclusion, like, I feel like Jessi lied. That will be not just, I wouldn't say justified, but it would be completely different if she worded it that way, but she didn't. It was just pretty much, oh, well, everybody said you lied, so I guess you lied. Which is kind of ignorant and stupid, honestly. This is something I was wondering about myself when Gabbie did her first video out of 3 about Jessi, where she really broke down her and Jessi's relationship when honestly we didn't really need it. And you can hear it in the video. Jessi says, why do people need to know our past relationship with each other? Like, the main issue is you're an apologist. That's the main issue. I don't care about everything else. The main issue is that you're an apologist. And then Gabbie kept deflecting. Like, I don't know if it was in this clip. I can't remember right now. But the amount of deflecting and gaslighting that Gabbie did throughout these whole video clips were just so shocking to me. And it was just so gross. Now, the last bit of videos, and I think this was the most telling part to me, was pretty much like the ultimatum that Gabbie gave Jessi, who was the survivor. Gabbie's not the victim in this situation, but she's trying to paint herself as one. And she's done this more than once, where she's done something wrong to somebody else, and then she's like, oh, well, this is how it hurt me. And then it seems like she ignores the main issue. And in this last part of videos, you can tell that Gabbie just doesn't get it. So before I even talk anymore, I'm gonna roll these last bit of clips for you, and then I'll be back, because I'll just be back.
I want a public statement and apology saying I should have never done this. It was inappropriate to share private conversations publicly. That is the way that I will stop talking about this and literally drop it. I want something that says I'm sorry that I hurt this person. I should not have done this. I shouldn't have shared private messages. And straight up, like, my lawyers will not let me drop this without an NDA, because like I'm going to live the rest of my life wondering when's the next time Jessi's gonna be like, you know what, fuck Gabbie. She did do this. I want to expose her again. And like that's where I'm at. It's like genuinely just want it to be fucking for real over.
Let's keep this offline and just sue me, and we'll see what happens in court. And then we don't have to bring our followers through this. We don't have to bring our fans through this, and we get to the bottom of what's been, hurting you. Just sue me, and then we won't have to bring our fans into this.
I'm more interested in bringing my fans into it, because those are the ones who are affected.
But
I don't want your money, Jessi. I do not want your money.
I'm not saying.
I don't want it.
I'm literally saying, like, I think your fans are affected too, because this is there. I mean, like, I see your live streams and I was worried.
You should be. I'm fucking suicidal.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
I have to continue to do this because
No, that's why we shouldn't. I don't want. Yeah, I don't want to.
That has not helped me. I still have to clear my name, so I have to like keep doing this.
You are narcissistic abusers. And you have been for 6 fucking years, Jessi Smiles. I have to keep that in.
So you're telling me you're gonna go on live stream, you're gonna tell all your followers everything about all our past. I don't see an end game in that for you. And that's why I was saying just to sue me.
Jessi, that's stress for me too.
I know that.
I keep going and sitting with these litigators, thinking about the idea of people saying how terrible I am for suing somebody with a child. What I want is for people to hear my side. I have no desire to take food out of your kid's mouth. I know that like your kid is in like speech classes. I'm like, that shit's expensive. You're a mother. You're a family. I don't want to hurt you. The only thing I want is for my name to be cleared, for me to feel like my story is heard, and for this to go away. Obviously, people are going to keep asking me about it, and like, if it's not going to happen, then I need to like continue doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I also want you to work on a public statement. Obviously, people are going to keep asking me about it, and like, if it's not going to happen, then I need to like continue doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I also want you to work on a public statement, and then we can work on it together. I want a public apology that should never have been made public.
That's not gonna happen, so I understand.
Okay, so then we keep going.
I'm not doing anything with you. Like, I'm not. Like, this is not, you say we keep going.
I'm gonna keep going then. I have publicly apologized for a situation that should have been private. So I think that it's only fair that you can also extend that same courtesy to me, considering what I've been through. This isn't me trying to like hurt you or threaten you in any way. Like, this is not do this or it's gonna happen. Like, I mean, I guess it kind of is, but it's just like, I'm not doing it to hurt you.
So let me get this straight. Gabbie wanted a public statement where Jessi pretty much apologized to her for making this public. Am I reading that right? Am I understanding this right? The one that was hurt is expected to apologize. Am I hearing this right? Or am I just tripping? I'm probably tripping. Maybe I interpreted it wrong. You can disagree with me in the comments below, but the way it came out to me is, yes, you're the victim, but you need to apologize because you made this public and embarrassing for me. And it seems like Gabbie was so much more concerned about her public image instead of, again, what the main issue was. And we've already talked about this with another YouTuber via James Charles, where it just seems like you don't care about what the situation is as long as you come out on top, squeaky clean, and your reputation is intact. So this whole thing, like, the more I think about it, it seems more like damage control for Gabbie instead of remedying a situation, if that makes any sense. And then she even says it herself, I still have to clear my name. What do you have to clear your name for? It's right there. You got caught in 4K. It's not even a joke. It's literally right there. The internet is forever. You know what I'm saying? So why are you so concerned about clearing your name when all you really had to do was just be like, hey, at the time of this situation, I was Curtis's friend, associate, and I really didn't understand all the facts. Like, she could have not really BS it, but she could have been like, hey, I knew this guy, and then all this kind of happened, and I didn't understand everything, so I still associated myself with this person, and now I realize that that was wrong, so I apologize for associating with someone that did something so disgusting and dirty, and then I hope we can all move on. That's all you had to do. Instead, it's, oh, well, I'm this, I'm that. It seemed like she wasn't listening to Jessi. And yes, I'm aware that these videos and recordings are from Jessi's point of view and everything, and that she edited them, but they weren't taken out of context, so you can't really make that argument, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, all Gabbie had to do was do the right thing, and then we wouldn't be here today. And honestly, she probably wouldn't be in so much drama as she is now, because besides the Kenza cosmetics scandal, Gabbie Hanna really had kind of a squeaky clean record. But after that, it just seemed like everything went downhill. So that was all the videos. If you want to see the Twitter thread, just go to Jessi Smiles Twitter. But a lot of commentary and drama channels saw this and were just so shocked, and even some influencers had a lot to say. So I'm gonna read some tweets from drama channels, commentary channels, influencers, pretty much about this whole situation. But first I want to read Jessi's tweet, because at the end of the thread she tweeted, I know I made a public video calling Gabbie out in 2019. I understand that. I don't, however, understand how that warrants Gabbie being able to bring up my rapist consistently in order to defend herself against things that she actually did. It's beyond triggering. You already saw it in one of the videos how Jessi only made one video about Gabbie, which was the Gabbie Hanna needs to be stopped video, and Gabbie Hanna made 3 different videos on the same situation because she's so desperate to clear her name. And it comes to the point where you're bringing up somebody else's trauma constantly, and it triggers them, and you don't realize that it's actually more harmful to keep bringing it up instead of just apologizing and saying you were wrong and moving on. because Gabbie Hanna has this thing where she can never be wrong, and if she is wrong, then you're a bully. That's pretty much how Gabbie Hanna's social media life is broken down right now. So the first tweet I want to read is from Oscar Wilde, and if you remember Oscar Wilde, he was actually in like a Twitter war with Gabbie Hanna, I want to say a week or two ago, and her fans like really attacked him, attacked his OnlyFans, gave him a panic attack, and Gabbie Hanna has never apologized for that, which is so gross to me. But he basically says, none of this is surprising. Thank you for always sending me support and kind words, especially when all of that happened on our live a month ago. You've always been genuine to me since my first Vine, LOL, and legit the only creator to ever invite me to a dinner back then befriended me. You have Angelica Oles, who really went off, and she says, Gabbie Hanna makes my blood boil. She is a manipulative. She keeps on banging on about, which is pretty much saying she's still around doing these same things. And then Angelica continues to say, I just read over my private conversation with Gabbie where she made me feel like she was the victim, and how these voice notes / calls from Jessi prove nothing, and how Jessi is accusing her of crimes. The gaslighting and manipulation that Gabbie does is out of this world. And to now actually hear the voice notes and calls makes me feel like an idiot for feeling bad for Gabbie at the time. And I said this in my last video, my last commentary video about Gabbie. I don't feel bad for her at all. She really does all of this to herself. Literally every situation. I really want you to really think about it, even if you're a Gabbie Hanna fan, and I don't know how you made it this far. You probably hit the dislike button by now, but I don't care. Really look at every argument situation that Gabbie has been a part of. She is the one that started it. With Trisha Paytas, she was the one that really told everybody about Trisha Paytas' sexual health when it was not her place to. And then she goes on about how her and Trisha were friends when they weren't, because Trisha says themselves that Gabbie wasn't my friend ever. Like, acquaintances, maybe, but friends, no. Speaking of Trisha, we have Trisha right here. This makes my stomach drop. I'm so sorry. Watching this is so tough. I can't imagine being in this conversation. I'm just so sorry. And it's just because Trisha has been dealing with Gabbie Hanna probably the most out of all these influencers in the past 2 years, where it's become obsessive. And we're going to talk about that last, because it is obsessive, and it's scary, and it's borderline dangerous at this point. We have one of my favorite channels, Dustin Daily. He says, holy F Jessi Smiles, you should sue Gabbie. What a piece of... I'm so sorry she's done this to you. We have Peter Mon, and I'm a really big fan of Peter Mon. Peter Mon does not really talk about drama on Twitter. He usually does it in videos only. So for him to comment on this situation just kind of shows how disgusting and terrible this whole thing really is. So he goes to say, I cannot get these calls out of my head. Condescending and manipulative. And the fact that she began to demand her to make a public statement and threaten lawsuits when she had the audacity to listen to this man. Ma'am, you're done. Back to one of my first points. Why did you even give this Curtis guy the time of day to listen to him? I'm so baffled by that. I'm still baffled by that. And then we have Paige from the UK, another great channel, basically saying, Gabbie Hanna, you are the narcissistic abuser. Surprisingly, but not surprisingly, there are still some people that really think I'm going to defend Gabbie Hanna because I don't think she did anything wrong. And why is everybody making this such a big deal? Okay. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I know, you at home. Raise your hand if you've had a friend that's told you they were a survivor of assault, and you decided when their abuser came to you and said, let me tell you my side of the story, you decided to listen to them. Don't worry, I'll wait. I can guarantee that none of y'all raised y'all hands up, because why in the world would you ever think, yes, let me listen to the abuser? It's more disgusting because it's more so men that are like really downplaying this, but I shouldn't be surprised because men have downplayed assault since the dawn of time, because I don't know, because they feel like women, like, I don't get it. It's always men that do this, do this ignorant I was about to cuss. It's always men that always try to do the ignorant crap, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised that it's mostly men trying to downplay this and really trying to make not a big deal when it actually is, which now that I'm saying it out loud, it's blowing my mind. And lastly, because I feel like this video has gone a little bit long, lastly, the fact that, again, Gabbie Hanna is one of those people that hits you. Gabbie Hanna is one of those people that smacks you, and then when you smack them back, they claim that you, like, they never hit you at all. She's one of those kind of people. She's one of those people that she never does anything wrong, but she's actually the one causing all the problems. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't expecting to talk about this. Actually, I kind of was, because I was on a Twitter rant, and I was just like, I had to sit down and talk about this. And it's probably, what time is it? It's about almost 1 a.m. here. So it's probably going to be like 2 a.m. by the time this is uploaded. And honestly, like, this is one of those things where I'm not going to schedule this to come out. I'm just going to put it out when it's done. Like, because this is just something, this is scary. To be such a liar, a manipulator, a gaslighter, and the fact that you still have a fan base that is willing to defend you and encourage your, like, gaslighting behavior, that's a problem that YouTube needs to address themselves, because I don't know how much longer this can go on before somebody really, really gets hurt, and that's honestly what I'm personally worried about. So, Jessi, I am so sorry that you have to go through this again, but I hope this is the last time, because I really feel like you spoke your piece, and I feel like Gabbie Hanna really doesn't have a leg to stand on anymore. She can try to, like, manipulate her way out of it, but at the end of the day, I hope you find peace. Gabbie Hanna, you know what? I don't have anything for Gabbie Hanna, because everything I was about to say was about to get me kicked off this platform, so I'm going to stop right there. Once again, it is Malcolm. That's me. This was something I was really passionate about, and I just really had a lot to say because it bothered me so much. And yeah, it just bothered me that much that I had to say something. I broke my own rule. I said I wasn't going to talk about Gabbie Hanna anymore on this channel, and I still did. So, like, it had to be something serious for me to break my silence on Gabbie Hanna. So, hopefully this is the last time I have to talk about Gabbie Hanna, unless she makes a YouTube video trying to justify her actions yet again, which, again, would be the worst, probably the worst thing she could do. Yeah, so once again, it is Malcolm, that's me. I have a subscription button up here if you like me ranting like this and just giving my own opinions and thoughts, because I have a lot. I just never have time to, like, sit down and just really talk. And yeah, if you made it this far, I'm glad that you made it this far. I also have 2 other videos over there for your own free time, and without further ado, I wish you well, I wish you good health, and I will see you again next time.